Hello, I'm Varun Chaturvedi, and welcome to Inside City, an interview show produced by the students of San Diego City College. Each week, we are talking to the newsmakers of this campus, and today, we have quite the show for you. Our first guest is a red, fuzzy, full of joy, and can take you back to that childhood street where friendship and fun rule.
Yeah, I'm happy to be at City College, Mr. Varun. Thank you.
Sound familiar? Another lovable and slightly mischievous guest hails from Kauai, Hawaii, where ohana means something very special.
Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
And our last guest is a middle-aged Australian man who just found out he won the $1 trillion lottery.
Crikey, $1 trillion bloody dollars? I thought I was going to grab a sausage sanger and a coldie, but now I'm richer than a whole country.
I promise you I was not going to break on that.
You want to back it up?
No, chill. Okay, so maybe not all the characters at once, but our guest today can become all of them and more. He's a professor right here at San Diego City College who not only teaches computer programming, but he's also been the voice of some of our favorite fictional characters. Hi, Professor Biagi. I'm very excited to be speaking with you today.
And I'm excited to be here. Thank you very much. I've been looking forward to this.
It's been, I can't begin to tell you, if any time someone knows who you are and does, and kind of realizes you do these voice actors, do different kind of voices, I'm curious, is the first thing usually just do somebody, Professor? Like
Sometimes, yeah. Or they go, do the voice, which one? It's like, when you're multi-voice. But yeah, one of the nice parts about being a voice actor is that people don't often know who we are, so they don't know what we look like. So it often takes people by surprise. So yeah, definitely get requests a lot, especially for Evil Elmo, which usually comes out very late at night after a few drinks.
We might come to that at some point.
I don't know. I don't know if it's right rating for this show.
I can only imagine. Obviously, we have your husband,
Yeah.
the wonderful, incredible, wonderfully sweet Professor Eddie Henderson.
Yeah.
Who's also a professor here at cosmetology at City College. I'm curious, what does dinner look like? Like you guys are like macking on lasagna, and all of a sudden you just whip out Elmo.
He is totally unfazed by any of it. In fact, sometimes gets annoyed, as you can imagine, because it's like, par for the course. My dog doesn't even react. I can talk to my dog in character voice, and my dog, just thinks it's normal. So it's just that's just normal life in the Biagi Henderson household.
Well, that's the thing is about household. Let's kind of turn the clock a little bit back, Professor.
Okay, sure.
Let's go way back for a minute. As a child, you were gifted in many programs, and you've always said that you've been a program. How did this whole other life start?
I've acted since I was a kid in just school productions and things like that. And I was always doing accents and dialects and characters. And then when I got older, went to college, I did some stuff in high school and college. I did a lot of theater. I did some actual studying of Shakespearean theater and did a lot of productions there. And realized that's something I really wanted to do. I moved to LA to work for a while. Needed a day job, like most people do when they work in the arts. And so I used my sciencey side and my programming side to keep me in jobs. I thought I was going to do stuff more in LA, but it didn't happen really. I didn't really pursue acting much in LA until I got to San Diego. And then I started to get back into things and really pursue voice acting.
Did you ever kind of feel, how did you blend the two worlds? Like one is clearly very logical and rational and almost very serious in some regard. But then the creative side is it's different, obviously. It's very creative and expressive. How did you blend the two worlds?
They're very different, so you can kind of compartmentalize them a bit. But there are times where they do blend. I bring my creative side a lot into my scientific work or my information science work, really, and programming. So a lot of interface design, things like that, understanding people. And then as far as the other way around, I think I'm able to do a lot of very technical jargon in voiceover. So I not only do character voices and things like that, but I actually do a lot of banking, scientific stuff. I was official voice for a lot of different educational software companies.
So being able to kind of balance those, it seems to be like an essential
yeah.
skill, really.
Yeah.
You were recently featured in a story that appeared on City Times with our very own Bree Bush and Marc Pliego, who kind of featured you in this amazing article.
It was.
You had mentioned where you learned to teach computer programming here on campus, in addition to voice acting. How do you blend that enthusiasm for teaching and with your dedication to the art itself?
Oh, I've always been in leadership type positions growing up, so I've always been in front of people and had sort of instructional roles. When I was working in IT and programming in the commercial world, I was often having to train people. So I usually, in fact, I developed whole training programs taking people in the old days from DOS to Windows. So I even had to tell one of the programmers, that was helping me teach these courses, how you had to describe to people how a mouse works. And they said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I said, "Yeah, you need to talk about the ball at the bottom and how it needs to stay in contact." And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Otherwise, what's going to happen is somebody's going to hold it up to the screen like a remote control." First class, somebody held it up to the screen like a remote control. And so, it's an understanding of people, I think. As an actor, you watch people a lot and you learn from them a lot. So to incorporate that in our art, but also to give it a sense of realism.
I mean, obviously, it's incredible to see the amount of passion and positivity this brings you, really. I'm curious if you ever bring kind of that voice acting side into your teaching. Like, do you ever go up and be like, line 4200 is missing a semicolon?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Like, you just randomly, like when you're coding stuff,
It's hard to think because I'm very much I'm a humorist, so I'm very much spontaneous. It'll happen in the moment. I don't plan them out, but they do come up. And stuff, and oftentimes you say that Ready Player One, things like that, that tie into the video game stuff, or, it's like, begin, so you sort of play with the class and they have fun with it, especially the video game programming class that I teach. So
I mean, I can imagine being in that class. I would love to kind of just see the random improv stuff, but it's obvious. Yeah, it's obvious how much this means to you, in the pressing and teaching and also in acting. However, around this time last year, City Times published an article centering, on the hardships that come with being an adjunct professor, and you have been open about those struggles. Is there a way you could speak a little bit to that, Professor?
Sure. I think a lot of, there really are two levels of faculty. There are full-time faculty and adjuncts or part-time faculty. And we don't get full teaching assignments. We're not often sure what we're going to teach, and we don't get to choose. We're offered things. And we're only paid during the period that we're teaching that assignment. We don't get paid year-round like other teachers do. So it can be a very challenging thing to manage your finances. We're going through some tough times right now, honestly. It's like this is supposed to be the day job, but it's not working out great as a day job all the time. But I'm still dedicated to it. I still do what I can around campus to help supplement that type of stuff and keep me involved. But it's a difficult time in education, period, right now for everyone. I think for not just faculty, not just adjunct faculty, but full-time faculty, for administrators, for students. It's a tough environment right now.
You mentioned students. Obviously, students are right now the big topic is CalFresh and SNAPs. You've been open about facing food insecurities in the past as well. Something many people have experienced and are experiencing today, including students here at San Diego City College and across the San Diego Community College District. Few really are very comfortable about talking about it and what it's like about in their lives. So what was that like, and what advice would you have for someone who is kind of going through that similar situation?
Yeah, it's something that's very real. It's important because we have a lot of students who are food insecure, and we have some faculty who are food insecure too, and also housing insecure. So it's a tough environment to be in. I think as you have to sort of know that it's not a moral failing to be hungry. It's not anything wrong with you necessarily. Sometimes circumstances just lead to that. And there's a lot of great help out there, and you just have to, I'm glad that our campus provides some really great services to be able to help our students out and others that are needing those basic needs. And I've had students that are unhoused in my classes, and we've worked, my fellow instructor and I have worked to try to help them a little extra in places and give them some flexibilities, because they need that. Every student is different though, and has different needs, and we try to honor all of those and be as equitable as we can, but we do reflect that type of diversity in the classroom, and no matter what the discipline is here.
In preparing for this interview, you and I talked about the many voice actors that were not happy about companies licensing their voices to use AI and to create those different voices for their video games. As someone who's also part of the technology and programming world, can you elaborate on the growing use of AI and the impact of in the world of acting and in video games, really?
AI is impacting everyone, period. But in my life, it's impacting me as an educator, as a programmer, as well as a voice actor. So all of these different types of facets of myself are being challenged. I want to say voice acting a little bit more under attack, because the AI companies they were supposed to make our lives easier. Instead, they're coming in and taking jobs away from creatives. So that was a basis for the strike for SAG-AFTRA, which I'm part of, and for the on-camera side. And then later we did that for what's called Interactive Media Agreement, which is video games and the like. And the video game companies were pushing even harder to be able to own our voices and our likenesses, and we don't really have rights for that in this country. NAVA, the North American Voice Actors Organization, nonprofit, has been working with Congress and our officials to try to get something passed, a deep fake type protection act. Denmark has already done something recently. India's done something. We've seen other countries do it, and a few states have done it. I believe Nashville did something that protected a lot of their musicians there. So there are options. It's just we need a comprehensive approach to that to be able to protect people and their livelihoods.
There's definitely a lot of collaboration that needs to happen, a lot of change that needs to happen as a result of it. But before you go, we've got quite a challenge for you, Professor.
Okay. I'll see if I'm up to it.
We've got we'll get to the AI stuff at a different time. But there's something before we head out. There's a small challenge. We would love if you could read the headlines of the latest edition of City Times in some of your very famous character voices.
And I just happen to have some copy here.
Can you believe it? We do too.
I know. So where do you want me to start? I'll start as myself. So
let's start baseline with Professor Marc Biagi, here from San Diego City College, reading City Times edition for your pleasure.
Number 1 in the state. City College student media recognized by 2 statewide organizations for outstanding news coverage of 2024 elections. San Diego City College is the community college media organization with the best election coverage in the state, according to 2 statewide news organizations.
Okay, Professor, let's do Professor Robotnik here.
City Times Media won multiple awards for its 2024 coverage, including 2 first-place awards statewide.
How about Marvin the Martian?
CTM reporters began their election coverage in April 2024.
That's saying more like Kermit right there.
I'm going to blow up the earth. There we go. CTM reporters began their election coverage in April 2024.
Let's try a Scottish guy who just came up with this.
By identifying issues important to the San Diego City College community, in August, the team collected survey responses to develop the City College Community Agenda, which was used to tailor election coverage leading up to Election Day.
Professor Biagi, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to find out more about Professor Marc Biagi, visit City Times and search for Biagi. That's all we have today on this edition of Inside City. Remember to follow SD City Times on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. From producer Keila Menjivar Zamora, director Tresean Osgood, and our entire CTTV crew, I'm Varun Chaturvedi. Thank you for joining us, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Go Knights!